but I'm staying with you. Beyond the controversy surrounding the numbers, well, it has passed somehow, but what do you make of the additional, clauses, if you may, that came from both houses? Of course, the House of Representatives insisting on making laws in the meantime for the people of Rivers State, and then the Senate insisting that every issue should be resolved within these 6 months and not more, and that there should be a committee that will attempt at least to reconcile the warring parties in Rivers State.
Yes, the Senate is right, because we cannot just allow a situation that we expect that after 6 months it will be automatically be over. There must be steps taken to reconcile the House of Representatives, House of Assembly faction, and the President and the Mr. Governor's team, so that they can work together after that. Now, the question of making laws for Rivers State at this time falls on the National Assembly, because in a case like this, the National Assembly becomes the legislature for Rivers State, and so that's not much in doubt. And I heard Mr. President in his declaration and the Gazette published saying that all other matters will have to be approved by the Federal Executive Council. What the Gazette states is what it states in matters that are executive. But at this time, it is the National Assembly that becomes the that becomes the lawmaking body for Rivers State.
Many thanks, Dr. Enang. You're a lawyer. Let us know what the Constitution, says about all of this. I mean, from the start, declaration by the President, what the National Assembly has done, where we are, having the sole administrator. The Constitution, I mean, is it in tandem with what has played out?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm asking that, what does the Constitution say in a situation like this? What has played out so far from, the declaration of the state of emergency to, having the sole administrator in Rivers State, and then the actions of the National Assembly. Is it in support of what the Constitution says?
As at now, when we had the declaration in 2013, it was a situation where the democratic structures were not suspended. But under the declarations, under the Obasanjo administration, and I think one thereafter, we had the democratic structure suspended. That is the House of Assembly. So the House of Assembly was suspended. And when the House of Assembly is suspended and there is no legislative body, the National Assembly steps in as the legislative body. Now, I will urge the National Assembly to make laws on the procedure for state of emergency. Particularly, we look at the standing orders, but that standing orders is only what happens and what operates within you. When we had the state of emergency under the President Obasanjo administration, I was chairman of Rules and Business, and we tried to work under the state of the State of Declaration of Emergency Act, as it was. We discovered that provision was not imported into the laws of the Federation again operating at that time. And when we looked again, it was the state of emergency that came up under 1967 or so. And so we could not draft the appropriate instrument in the House of Representatives at that time. When I was chairman of Rules and Business, I think 2005, 2006, 2007. I can't be precise, please forgive me. But the National Assembly must feel this challenge and then make appropriate laws for declaration of a state of emergency, where it will state whether the democratic institutions like the House of Assembly of the state can be done away with, whether the governor can be suspended, because there is a dispute. There is a dispute now that under the Jonathan administration, the legislative house and the governor was not suspended. But at that time, my argument is that the subject matter of the declaration was not the action or inaction or miscalculation of the governor or the House of Assembly, and so it was not necessary at that time to suspend those democratic institutions. But when the subject matter and the causative factor is the governor, the executive, and the legislature, and none of them is able to function, now the question of the legitimacy, the good conscience of the president comes in. As Mr. President said, no good and reasonable president would watch this event. A good and reasonable president, as President Tinubu, has taken the appropriate action by asking the state executive, the governor, to stand suspended, the House of Assembly stand suspended. So it is appropriate for the National Assembly to take care and make laws for Rivers State at this moment. This we took account of under the when Amechi had issues with his own House of Assembly. I think in 2013 or 2014, and that is why I've always said that Rivers State, who did this to you? Who did this to you, Rivers State? Because since after Odili, I repeat, under Amechi governorship of 8 years, the Rivers State House of Assembly was in chains, in pain, and almost killed. Then under Wike, it was like saying, I learned from the master. I know Aristotle, the great master who taught Alexander. That is, Amechi taught Wike. Wike came and taught Fubara, and Fubara came and finished them all. So when you have this kind of situation, now the National Assembly has to step in and make laws. Thank you.